So my name is Comfort Survival. I'm a UX UI designer. I've been in the field around 3 years now. I made the switch. I was doing something else, and I made the switch over the pandemic to pursue UX design, and I've loved it ever since. I've joined the 200K community to gain more experience with user research and working with other designers. In my current role, I'm the only designer, so this is a very good learning opportunity on collaboration for me. To get started, I was just going to go over the documentation. It's not a lot of documentation, but we've began a little bit of the Yumi research just so that we have a good base of like where to start and how to proceed in terms of UX research. So we have a bit of the overview. Oh, I don't know if it's still displaying right. Okay. Anyway, we have a bit of the overview that I've taken from the documentation that TC has provided, just to run a little bit of what Yumi is about, some of the goals that we've captured in Yumi, which is empowering local food entrepreneurs by providing easy access to nearby commercial kitchens and enabling them to scale their production without the cost of setting up their own facilities. Also fostering mutual beneficial partnerships between food business owners and restaurant operators to optimize underused commercial kitchens while offering affordable professional spaces for local food businesses to grow. And finally, another goal of Yumi is to enable commercial kitchens act as a convenient pickup location for customers to streamline operations for local businesses and enhance customer accessibility. So to get started, just like for us to understand a bit of why we're doing this and how we should proceed, I've started with an example of a problem statement. So a problem statement is usually some of the beginning steps of discovery for a project. You have a problem statement so that you're able to provide a solution to the problem that you have listed. So an example, which I think I need to rewrite this problem statement because it doesn't quite capture the essence of using the kitchens as a pickup spot. It only captures it as a commercial kitchen. So I would need to go back and like rewrite that again. So an example that I provided here is that local food businesses such as caterers, bakers, and small-scale food producers often face significant challenges in accessing affordable, well-equipped commercial kitchen spaces. Limited availability, high rental cost, and logistics barriers make it difficult for these businesses to scale their operations or enter new market. Many restaurant owners have underutilized commercial kitchens during off-peak hours, but lack an efficient, secure way to connect with food entrepreneurs who need temporary kitchen spaces. This disconnect between supply and demand hinders growth opportunities for both parties. And so there is a need for a streamlined solution that bridges the gap, facilitating easy, reliable connections between local food businesses and available commercial kitchens, which is essentially what Yumi is trying to do, provide a solution for this problem statement. And so the research methodology that we're going to be taking would be first defining the objectives. So again, understanding our audience. TC has provided us a list of some of the local business owners that he's in contact with, which we can reach out to, maybe send some surveys and like get their feedback, and if possible, go ahead as interviewing them just to gather some more insight on how to proceed. So the first step that we're going to take would be data collection. I have a couple of survey questions. I'll share a link to this document so that you can look at it in your own time, and feel free to like edit, leave any feedback if you have. Some of the questions would be, because it's a survey, we want to ask very closed-ended questions, yes, no questions, rather than open-ended questions. That way, they're not going into too much detail too early. And some people just like a quick click and go. In interviews, you have more opportunities to ask in more detail if you need clarification on anything. So with the surveys, closed-ended questions are recommended. So to start, I have, do you have any experience with commercial kitchens, such as like what challenges do you currently face when finding or renting a commercial kitchen? What kind of supportive features like would you find most helpful like when collaborating? So give them like ABC options, and so that they can go through like questions such as those, just to get a general feel of what the needs of the businesses are. So we're not creating a solution that doesn't solve the problem that they're looking to get solved. Because at the end of the day, if you're creating a solution that is very us centered and not like, providing the solution that the user needs, then no one's going to use the product. So we need to make sure that we're very strategic and intuitive with the designs that we're creating. I also have a bit of survey questions that we could also ask, not just the business owners, but also the commercial kitchen owners or pickup spot owners. The questions are a bit different, but in some ways that they merge. And at the end, we can validate the data that we get from this survey by saying, well, at the end of the survey, you usually have a question saying if you would like to proceed with an interview or if you would like to give extra feedback on the survey, drop your email. So we'll be collecting emails during the survey just to see if any of the businesses are willing to be interviewed to give us a deeper understanding of their needs. And we can do that as well. I've gathered again some questions that we could ask or like begin with. And then we also have the data analysis. So that would be after the survey. We would analyze all of the data that we've received from both the survey and the interviews, and just that brainstorming a little bit. And then we can synthesize our findings, just summarize the pain points faced by both parties. And then at the end, we could do a competitive analysis, seeing what businesses already exist that are either in Ottawa or just anywhere in Ontario that are doing a similar thing that Yumi is trying to do, see what they're doing, see where they're lacking, and see how Yumi can fill in that gap in the market. And make sure that we're taking pointers from people that already have experience doing what we're trying to do. And then we can put together a final report at the end, just to say, well, these are the findings of what we've gathered, what we've learned during our research, and then we can be able to provide data-driven decisions before we start designing for Yumi. So that's as far as I've gone. I don't have any more things in this document. So if anyone has any next steps after we're done gathering our data, feel free to add that into this document. I'll also leave a link so that, again, you can look at it in your own time. But yeah, that's it.
Nice, amazing. Whoa, that's a lot of content.
Yes, it's a lot of content, sorry.
Oh yeah, a lot of steps. Yeah, that's great. That's great. That actually, I have a question.
Mhm.
So right now we kind of Yumi doesn't have a homepage, right? And you also mentioned we can send out email to people, and for example, if they are interested, we might need a place they can go and see, oh, what is Yumi, and then they can maybe we provide some information, some descriptions, and then if they are interested, they can submit their information, or we can provide the questionnaire to them. They can fill out.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe we should start with in the meantime, I mean, like work parallelly, we have when we send out the research, maybe we should start building a homepage so that when users they try to reach, would that be helpful?
Yeah, I think well, more like a landing page. A landing page would work just to say, well, users, this is where you can go. This is
Mm-hmm.
a project that is in discovery, so it's not a live product yet. It's still in discovery, so we're just gathering data for now. But they can have a page where they can look at the information, see what the project is about, and see how it benefits them. And so they have a lot more incentive to want to like fill out the survey.
Oh, nice, nice. Then I'll need to kind of adjust the plan a bit. Uh, yeah, in the meantime, I guess we can have a few people working on building the homepage and providing some information and the forms for the user to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's amazing. That's inspired me with this idea.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm glad.
yeah, whoever has question or go for it. But one thing I catch is like when in the IEC team we are also working on some UX research, right?
Mhm.
One of the form I found proposal, if I remember correctly, was from Harvard. Uh, he did so well. He has a lot of content in his form. I spent probably at least 10 to 15 minutes to finish up all the questions, and all
Oh.
of them are not a yes or no. They are like open questions.
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, you mentioned. better to give them like options to choose, or like a lot of people they like just click and then
Yeah.
that's it, right? Maybe that's a really good feedback to like I'll let Howard know. Um,
Yes. Open-ended questions are great, but if you're actually trying to, you don't want people to drop off like while filling out the forms and they're reading for too long or typing for too long and then they feel disinterested and they're not like proceeding anymore. So for the first time, like they're interacting with your product, whether it's a survey, newsletter, whatever, it's good to like keep it short and sweet. And then when you have the user's attention and they have more reasons to come back to you, then you can proceed with like longer engagement times if you like.
Oh, nice. So you mean there can be multiple times of UX research, right? First, we just catch their attention,
Yes.
and then later we can provide the second, the third UX research for them.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, nice, nice. Cool. Um, does anyone else has questions? Or we can move forward.
It was pretty good. That was a
Yeah,
very good
nice
presentation.
demo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Um, and Santiago, do you like do you want to wait for Hannah, or you can start, or we can have something else to discuss? It's up to you.
She has the first part of the presentation, so it would be great
Ah,
if we can wait for her.
oh,
She
good. Then
did
it's
send a
my
message.
time.
Yeah, we can definitely discuss something else. I think it would be helpful, not necessarily now, but
Great.
at some point for everyone to read the survey questions and just make suggestions on it. I think
Oh, that would be nice.
Comfort did a great job. I looked over them, but now there's so many of us here, even if we could take like 15 minutes, I think that could be helpful. That would give us enough time for Hannah to join.
Sure. Yeah, yes. Everybody, please. Comfy sent out the document and the questions in the message. Please go there and just look into that. If you have any question or any comments, just comment, leave a message, or let me or let Comfy, let Santiago know. They just take this time to kind of review the research questions. And in the meantime, I actually got something to share. I just want to kind of say thanks for everybody's effort. And it's amazing to work with you guys. And there are some exciting news. We are onboarding another two really good project managers. And one of the project manager, she's also going to bring her team. She is actually working on a startup. They have a few people. So we'll have a larger team, and we have more people to share their knowledge and to learn from each other. And we have one senior manager, she is project manager. She's in what's her name? CGI. Is that the company's name? She's really senior. She has been like working as a project manager for about 10 years. So she's going to join us and help us manage the project, make sure everything is aligned. And she's also going to be our mentor for project managers. So still, like we want everybody to kind of grow to learn, right? If you right now you work as a designer or engineer, but if you want to try out and see if you want to be a project manager, now you are backed by a senior project manager. Yeah, if you are interested in leading a team, just let me know and we can discuss if there's a great opportunity for you. Other than this, while we are waiting, still you guys go for the questions. I can just talk. I can just talk as a background noise. Yeah, a few days ago we had a session provided by a guy called Ryan Gibson. Let me share. You guys go for the questions. I just quickly share his find his LinkedIn. He's really interesting because before I didn't. I know UX research is quite important, but I didn't know someone can build his career totally simply just based on UX research. So if you look into his portfolio, he actually graduated from Argonne College. I guess it seemed to a lot of people. He majored in applied. Sorry, let me find his profile first. Basically, he has a background in design and in a little bit coding. But then he just leveraged this skill, his UX research skill, to become a consultant in Rewind. He shared a bit of his story. So basically, he's a really good listener, and he's a really good speaker. So I'll send his profile in the message. So he likes to listen to people, and he just found this can help him do the UX research. He's doing the UX research better than anybody else. Then what he's doing is he's just reaching out to the companies. And for example, one of the companies is Rewind. That's where he works right now. But before Rewind, just as a context, they provide a security service for companies if they, to help them if there's any risk that they lost their data. For example, there's a power outage, there's a earthquake. They can help the companies recover their lost data. So he reached out to them, and basically the company Rewind, they were having issue sell their product. They have a really good product, but somehow they don't make sales. And then he dig into their strategy and then figured those companies like Rewind, their sales team, they are reaching out to companies, hire managers, directors, VPs to try to reach out to them and say, oh, we have this service, we can secure your data. Would you like to buy our service? But then the answer is no, because those guys, they don't care about data security. Their job is to either make more sales, hire more people, or make a better product. But data is the least part they care. But then the sales team didn't realize that. So Ryan, he reached out to kind of did some research, reach out to people, and then he figured even though the hire managers, they don't care about data security, there's people really care, which is the network team, the network engineers. They are so scared of losing the data because when anything happens, there's power outage or anything, they are screwed. They need to kind of recover everything, and it's a lot of work. So Ryan basically bring all those research results to Rewind, and then Rewind start to kind of take their sales strategy to reaching out to network engineers, network teams, and they start to make sales. They start to make a lot of sales. So after that, Ryan joined them as a senior consultant to help them to marketing, to do UX research. And he shared a lot of examples. I have his session and the PowerPoint. Maybe later we can find a good time. It's still, that's another part. It's a 3-hour session, a lot of content. So it's going to take some time. So maybe later we can find a time, everybody is available. I just share the screen and share the session. The reason for that is it's a private session. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to share it. So I probably just share the screen and we can watch it together. Another thing he inspired me is, this is not last week was not the first time I joined his session, and he was sharing the exactly same topic and exactly same PowerPoint the second time to me, and he has been sharing the same topic, I don't know, multiple times, tons of times. Basically, he's become the expert in he named it customer discovery, not to UX research, but there's a lot of things overlapping, customer discovery. He becomes the expert in customer discovery, and nobody can do better than him, and nobody can share this topic better than him. This becomes his niche. So right now, he's also a mentor in Invest Ottawa. Basically, whenever there's any program they related to marketing, they will invite him to join and share this topic. So that's why he has a 64-page of PowerPoint and a session for 3 hours. It's really intense session. He has a lot of stories. Basically, every time he shares this topic, he's polishing, and he's kind of making it better. And every time he's adding some more content into it. This becomes one of his niche. Because when people talk about customer discovery, they think of him. So what I want to see is, as right now our community, we are doing those demos. We're trying to encourage people to do demos. One part is we want to help you practice communication and help you practice public speaking. Because when you reach out to interviewers, likely it's the same scenario. You will be online, turn on your camera, and you are going to kind of talk. So this is a way to kind of help you practice, be prepared. When you get used to camera, you're not going to feel anything. You're going to kind of speak as natural. And another part is, then, for example, this time we have the topic for UX research. Later, we are going to have another project, another team, and I'm going to invite you to join and share the same knowledge again. We'll get a lot of time to kind of polish, for you to kind of polish the same topic. And then eventually, Santiago, Confi, and Hannah, you become the expert in UX research. And you guys will demo the UX research way better than the other guys. This becomes your niche. And instead of only demoing inside the 200K, right? Maybe there's some other team, or there's in Ottawa there's a lot of startups. They all know there is a UX research, but they don't know how to do it. Nobody knows as Comfy demo, like there's so many steps, right? Nobody planned as good as Comfy did. So you can also demo to them. You can maybe become a mentor to those startups, or maybe you can become a consultant for them. I just want to kind of take this opportunity, take the demo, kind of just showcase whatever and polish it. We are going to demo the same topic again and again. Not like not as frequent as what they did, but for sure we are going to have more opportunities later. Maybe after this project, we can have another demo, right? Just after we finish about the UX research, we have another demo to showcase what we did. So just kind of make this a topic you are good at. So next time, practice and polish and market it. Market it as on LinkedIn. You just see, we had a demo for UX research, and next time probably some people will invite you to join. So this becomes your niche, and this helps you in your career. That's something I got really inspired from Ryan. Yeah, he's really amazing. Next time when he has a session, I'll send the link to our channel. And he's really supportive. If you have, I sent his link in your message. If you have any question related to customer discovery, you're curious about Revend, about UX research, just reach out to him. He's really easygoing. I connected with him and he passed right away. So, go for it. Yeah, that's kind of what I found last week. Yeah, let's give Hannah some time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can
7:30.
we ask questions
Oh yeah, for sure. Go
about
for it.
the questions?
Oh yes.
Yeah, questions, feedbacks. Go for it.
Those are really good. I just wondering, out of curiosity, Comfort, did anyone else collaborated with you formulating these questions?
No.
Or
No.
you-
So,
okay.
so it's an open document. I'm hoping that people can
Okay.
add and remove to it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I was also wondering what I know TC had given us a couple of options as to where we could host this survey. Maybe we can decide that today. Usually because when you send out the survey, it takes maybe a week or two to get feedback back, and I don't want us to be idle in that time. So maybe we could proceed with the comparative analysis or whatever methods that we need to proceed with while we're waiting for the responses. So maybe we can decide how we're going to run the survey and have a date as to when we want to send it out and compile a list of who we're sending it out to. But yeah, definitely everyone should take a look, leave feedback, add questions, remove questions as you like, or however.
I have a question.
Yeah, for sure.
So there are two groups here, right? One is for food entrepreneurs,
Yes.
and so there will be two groups, right? And then the commercial kitchen owners,
Yes.
correct? In this case, will be Cacao, I believe it's called.
Cacao 70.
Mm-hmm. or Yumi, correct?
For the, so is Cacao offering to use their kitchen as a commercial kitchen? Because I
Mhm.
know they have the Biowood location. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that is right. Yeah.
yeah, so the questions would be the questions under the, not the food businesses, but under the commercial kitchens. Cacao will be getting those lists of questions. And then if there's another business, maybe like a bakery or whatever, that wants to collaborate and maybe use Cacao's kitchen, then we will be sending them the first list of questions.
Correct. So for that, this is a very good. I think that what you say makes a lot of sense. Doing like in this case, a more you want to do more quantitative kind of research here, correct?
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
Have you thought or have you considered doing kind of funnel technique, like starting with a broad question and then
Same.
go into more specific? I'm just curious because um, you probably are familiar with mental models. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, so is
Right.
that like funneling the question saying I am a business owner or I own a commercial kitchen, and then you
I mean, like starting like a broad
Mm,
concept is to figure out what they know, like
mm,
what if are they familiar with this concept of commercial kitchen, right?
mhm,
One of the questions that could be very broad, and you can start. That's like a funnel kind of technique, right? Starting broad and then going more into detail
yeah.
with the with the questions. So I think starting broad could give you a good idea of mental models. For example, uh,
Mm,
something like your first question could be instead of doing, do you have any experience with commercial kitchen? So my first question there is, do they know what commercial kitchen is? If
mhm,
they do they know that concept? If they don't know that concept, right, that's something that is going to bring you to a different kind of topic of probably explaining or changing your message so that they understand,
what
like
it- mm,
people, anyone can understand that concept, right? So for I'm not sure if they have heard the commercial kitchen concept before, something like
mhm,
that. I'm
mhm.
not sure if my question makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure, it makes sense. And then maybe if they select yes or no, I don't know what it is, we provide something saying, well, in summary, this is what a commercial kitchen is, and then see if they
Hmm.
want to proceed with the survey.
Yeah,
So yeah, that could be a starting step, because I think it would apply both to uh, the two users that we're trying to target, both
correct,
commercial kitchen and the business.
correct. Yeah,
Yes.
just wanted to mention that so that
Yeah, that's great feedback.
that
Thank
that could help to understand mental models. Like mental models are thoughts basically
you.
of what people know, right? I'm not, it's hard to explain that concept is, but I'm going to write it here.
Yeah,
That's important.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And
Um,
Hi.
hello.
Hello.
Hey, Hannah, how are you? Thanks for
Yeah.
joining. Yeah, hope you're okay because I know it's raining outside, and I hope everybody is dry and safe at home. Um, yeah, so we quickly went through the Confi's demo, the content and the questions, and right now we are discuss a bit into the questions. Um, and whenever you are ready. Oh, sorry, Salu, was your question answered? Oh,
Yes.
I'll create a, let me do this. I'll create a post on the project forum, and then I'll share the links and the messages into it. If you have any comments, just we can start from there. Just comment in the forum is easier to track, and then later we can we can look into the details.
Mhm.
And Hannah, are you okay with starting the demo?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, please introduce a bit about yourself. I see Ali and Mahia, they are from the IEC team. They may not know you, but yeah, please go for it.
Hi guys. My name is Hana Cho. I'm currently living in Toronto and a student at Seneca College studying interactive media design. Back in Korea, I worked as a UX UI designer for about a year. And then today I prepared some UX demo about what is UX research and how to do it and how I did back at the previous company so that we could understand better before we do the UX research about our own projects. Thank you. Yeah, so should we start?
Oh yeah, for sure. Go for it.
Yeah. Should I share the screen? So everyone can see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah. So hello everyone. So thank you for joining today, and I'll be presenting on UX research, covering what it is and the different types and more. So by the end of the today, I hope we have a better understanding of how UX research allows us to create designs that are both meaningful and impactful. So we will start with the basics of what is UX research, and then I will go over the types of the UX research, where I will explain the main types and then how they can help us understand our users better. And then after that, Santiago will guide us through the design process and how the UX research plays a role at each stage of the designs. And then I will cover why user interview is important and the process of user interviews, and then the tools that we can use for the UX researches, and then Comfort and Santiago and I will share the few examples of how we've conducted UX researches with our previous company to give a real life context. So let's start. So what is UX research? So UX research is the process of understanding our user behaviors better to gain a deeper understanding of what users have pain points about the situations. So why is research is important? Because that it allows us to design based on the data-driven and user-centered so that we can really solve the root problem of the situation. So for us, the Yumi project, our problem would be the local food businesses having troubles with gaining more loyal customers. So by doing the UX research like surveys or user interviews, we could understand better what local food businesses owners have pain points about the situation and about the current kitchen operators to understand them better and come up with the real solutions with it. And next is the types of the UX research. And the first is the generative research and then evaluative research. So the generative research is about generating new ideas or concepts or insights to the design process. So it could be like a brainstorming sessions with group of users or cost sorting. But on the other hand, the evaluative research focuses on assessing the usability and overall quality of the existing designs or the prototypes. So once you after design up your service or prototypes, you can evaluate the strengths or the weakness of your designs, or you can do A/B testing so that which version of your design works better for your solutions to improve your solutions. And next types of user research, there's qualitative research and then quantitative research. So for the qualitative research is about capturing subjective insights into users' experiences. So that is about understanding like underlying reasons or motivations or behaviors of the individuals. On the other hand, the quantitative research is like gaining numerical data to identify some patterns and significance. So you can quantify user behaviors or preferences so that you can get some statistical insights. So it's usually done through like surveys. And last, there's attitudinal research and then behavioral research. Attitudinal research is about understanding users' attitudes, perceptions, and beliefs. So it's about focusing on why behind users' decisions and actions. So usually it involves like interviews, focus groups, and surveys. Ask them, why did you act like that? Why did you choose this? And behavioral research is more about what users do rather than what they say they do. So this kind of research is about based on observation method like usability testing, heat maps, eye tracking. So you see them how they behave rather than asking why did you act like that? Because sometimes what they say and what they do is doesn't really match. So it's more could be a concise way to get better understanding about your users. So there are many types of user researches. I think for the Yumi's project, we will gonna start with the surveys and then reach out to the people who are really for the user interviews, but we can also use other UX researches depending on our design phases, such as like A/B testings later or usability testings after the design, stuff like that. And from here, Santiago will go through the design process and research and design.
Thanks, Hannah. Before I start, I'll quickly introduce myself. I'm Santiago. I'm currently a fourth-year Bachelor of Design student focusing on interaction and experience design. I currently have just over 2 years of experience working in the field. I've done product design and visual communication design work in mid-sized companies, but currently I'm designing user interfaces as well as conducting user research at a biotech startup here in Alberta. I'm always looking for new projects, and as TC said before, I think this is such a great opportunity to learn and to practice a wide range of skills. So I'm grateful to be here and learn from all of you. Jumping back into the presentation here, I reworked this framework regarding the overall design process and research in design. And I created this diagram. Hopefully it makes sense as I walk us through it. This is a pretty famous framework. This is the Double Diamond framework. I think it's by the Design Council out of the UK. It is a structured approach to design that helps guide teams from problem to solution. It has 4 stages. That is going to be discover, where we dive into understanding the problem, define, where we refine our challenge, develop, where we co-design potential solutions, and deliver, where we test and improve these solutions. The framework is based on key principles, putting people first, using visual communication, collaborating with others, and iterating to improve, supported by methods that help teams explore challenges, shape prototypes, and build solutions. Move on to the second slide here. I'll show you a little bit more of a visual representation that I made here. This is meant to represent the early stages of design. The process can feel messy and unclear, like the scribbled lines on this slide. This reflects the exploratory phase, where we dive into understanding the problems from different perspectives and gather a lot of information. As we move into the define phase, we start organizing and making sense of this data, which helps us clarify the challenge. And gradually, as you can see the line move through, a clear solution begins to take shape, leading us into the develop and deliver stages, where our refined insights turn into practical solutions.
Thanks, Santiago. And then the next, we will talk about why user interviews is important. I think user interview is one of the methods that we can really gain some meaningful insights from the users, because we can ask more deeper questions than any other methods. So I choose to go more deeper with the user interviews. So the process of the user interview would be, first, we have to define the objectives. For us, Yumi project, our objectives is to understand better the situations of the local food businesses, and then how we bridge the gap between the local restaurants and the local food businesses together, so that local businesses can be more flourish with their businesses. And then we have to recruit participants. I believe we have some list of the business owners that we can interview with. And then we can start with the surveys and then do the user interviews later. And then we have to prepare the questions. And I think Comfort with already done the questions with the local food business parts and the commercial kitchen, the local restaurant parts as well. I think maybe if we have time, we could also do the interviews for the people living in Oda, for the potential users as well. And then the fourth would be conduct the interviews with them, and then we have to analyze the findings, so that with the insights that we gained from the user interviews, we have to adapt it to our designs to solve our problems. So there are things that we have to know during the interviews and after the interviews. During the interviews, what is important is that I think is to ask open-ended questions, because yes or no questions can be easily done by the surveys. So I think it's more important to ask them about open-ended questions, so that to get more backgrounds about the users. And I think we have to avoid questions like, oh, if we make this, are you going to use this? Because the user is going to say yes and being nice to us. And every time I did the user interviews, I always, from the start, tell them, don't feel bad about talking to us to be too honest or talking about negative things, because what we really want is your honesty, not you being nice to me because you get paid for this interview. So that make sure the interviewees be really honest with you, so that you can gain more information from them. And also the useful questions that I ask to the interviewees is that imagine questions. I often ask the users like, oh, imagine you're right now in your rooms, like preparing for the test. What's on your desk? Imagine like what's on your iPad? What are you looking at? How do you study? So that you ask like deeper questions, so that users imagine the situations when they are using your service, so that you can get like as specific answers as possible. And also what's to do after the interview is that you have to write down what they said during the interviews, and then so that you can share it with other colleagues. And then we have to find some insights from them, and then make sure that it is covered with our designs. So definitely there are challenges and considerations with the user interviews. I think the most important one is that avoid leading questions or assuming user behaviors, because maybe after the user interviews, you find out that the possible solutions that you maybe think is going to be the final solution may not be the one that solves the problem. So it's really important that not to be biased with the interviewees or the situations or the solutions, because the root problem, there could be many solutions to one problem. So yes, it's not to be biased is really important. And also there are many research tools that help UX research process. I think Zoom or Google Meet is one of the most used ones for like user interviews or user testings even. And I heard Maze is also famous for user testings as well. And for the surveys, Google Form or Typeform can be widely used for that method as well. And final part is the example. For me, I did get some user feedbacks and then did the user interviews with the previous company, Allen's Library. Allen's Library is the small startup company which is an online learning platform for medical school students in Korea, for them to to get the general practitioner license exams. So we provide questions and exams and theories so that they can help with our service. And what I did to get user feedbacks back there is that we integrated our chatbot system with our Slack communication tool, so that every morning I can just check what kind of inquiries our users wrote to us, like, oh, can you make this function, because while I study I need this, or like, oh, why did you update it like this, it's so uncomfortable, or stuff like that. So I can just know that what they're happy or unhappy with our service. And second is that we get annual satisfaction survey. So we gave out like a long survey with some events, whoever we randomly give out like the gifts to the students. So we asked them like, would you recommend this service to others, or what is the best features that you think? Or we asked them like, what is the new feature that you want us to develop, so that it helps us to prioritize our new year projects. And also I did some user interviews and user testings as well. The background to this is that we were trying to expand our business from medical student exam market to the nursing market. But the nursing market, there's already big and famous companies there. So it was hard us to expand our business. So we decided to reach out to some nursing students, how they study, how they choose their books, study materials for their exams and stuff. So half of them already used our systems, and half of them never heard of our service. So we asked them how they study, and then also the students who never used our service, we asked them like, we did a brief user testings as well, so that we could find out if there's some hurdles for the first time users for our services as well. And I think this is Comfort's example.
Yeah. So this is an example of how I run a user interview and a usability testing at Less of Science. So Less of Science is a company that I'm currently with. We're a nonprofit organization. We provide STEM resources for educators to use in their classroom delivery. So we provide resources for kindergarten to grade 12. So to teach kids about science, technology, engineering, and math very early, so that when they're moving on to college, they have enough information to make a guided decision as to whether they want to get into the sciences or not. And also to teach them that working a STEM career is not a linear path. Like, not everybody studies this in university and then ends up working in a STEM related field. So the survey that we had run was to figure out the reasons why we were getting a lot of click rates. So we would post on LinkedIn with our marketing, and we would post everywhere else that we would post, and even on the newsletters, and people would click on it and get on the forums, but we were realizing that they weren't finishing the registration. So after that, we were gathering some feedback to better understand why they were clicking, why they weren't registering. We found some of the feedback received that some of the forms were too long, or sometimes because our educators are repeat educators, they filled out this information before. They expect that we have a centralized way to store them, so that we're not asking them their name, what grades they teach, what class, what school do you teach. They don't want to be asked that question every time they have to register for something. They expect that it's stored in a database, but with the way that educators work, they often teach multiple schools. Sometimes they substitute teachers. So all of the information changes every now and then. So we're unable to store it as we would expect to be able to store it. So it causes some friction between why users will click stuff and then not proceed to finish it. So that was some of the feedback that we had received. We provided to run a moderated interview and usability testing to gain more knowledge, past the survey that we had received. Some of the feedback also received was that educators outside of Ontario some of the programs, because we have professional learning programs, we have STEM at school, STEM story time. All of these are programs that educators can play in their class and have their students like engage in that, or sometimes action projects, just to keep them engaged in like science related projects. And then we found that some of the times that we're releasing this, it's a good time for educators in Ontario, but it's not a good time for educators in a different time zone. Why we're assuming that it's a good time for them, it's probably not their lunchtime yet. And we also found that educators have very limited time when they're scrolling, when they're reading, so they're not looking for every bit of detail. They're looking for information to see if it's free, because first of all, with students and like teaching educators have to invest a lot of money in buying pencils, books, and all of that. So they're looking for free programming. And then they're also looking that it aligns with their province curriculum. So for example, if you're teaching in Ontario, you have to make sure that whatever you're teaching aligns with the Ontario curriculum, and you're not using content that doesn't classify under that. So those are very important information. So on the get-go, if you have a cue card, they want to be able to see that first of all, your information is free, and it also aligns with the curriculum. And so long blocks of text, they don't really find that helpful. So those were some of the feedbacks that we had gathered during this usability testing and interview.
Thanks, Comfort. And then I think we can I think we can hear from Santiago's example as well.
Yeah, so I wanted to showcase other methods other than design, research, and surveys. Other methods of design research other than surveys and interviews. This is in regard to a project I'm currently working at called PimaSense. It's a biotech startup focused on building wearable sensors that measure cortisol and adrenaline levels that essentially accurately assesses stress levels in users. I've been designing the interface and interaction systems for the software of a user application within PimaSense called Senro. And as part of the design research at Senro, I led a co-design process to refine the communication tools available within Senro's specialist portal. Simply put, a co-design is a research method where designers and users work together to create potential solutions. It's a very simplified definition. In a bit, I'll actually be posting either here or just on Discord a couple of links to the NNG group, different or most usable research methods that have been used. It's probably close to 50 that have been done. So then everyone can go and look through those. Co-design is one of those. First, I conducted a focus group with specialists, including psychologists and therapists, to understand their needs for the portal's live chat feature. This is a feature that we had the idea to have on the specialist side of the project. And it was through this session where it became clear that the live chat that we had proposed wasn't essential, and it didn't align well with their daily workflows. Really, they just did not find any value in it. We had already spent probably 3 weeks just on this one feature before we decided that, hey, we should be testing this to make sure this is actually valuable. And that's going to be very important as we do user research, that if the research isn't done properly and centered around the user, there will be a lot of back and forth that will become expensive, and typically you just want to avoid altogether. So yeah, through that focus group, it was decided that, hey, that workflow does not work. That live chat is not something we want. And so from there, to be able to see what the user really wanted, really needed, I decided to conduct a co-design session. And again, this is where we graph the specific users. In this case, it was the medical professionals, the psychologists, and the therapists, to essentially help me design this solution. So again, I worked directly with them, the same specialists that I had done the focus group with, to identify the types of communication tools they'd actually use. We explored different scenarios, and they pinpointed practical features like message templates for patient updates, reminders, and scheduling options as better fits for their preferred system. These insights essentially led me to recommend tailored communication features instead of the live chat that we had been working on. And the solutions developed directly with the users ensure that the portal aligned more closely with their workflows, their needs, and essentially providing practicality and functionality to the system. So yeah, again, just an example of how even after we do the initial research through surveys and interviews, there will be a bit more of design research through different methods needed as we work through the process. So really, design research is not just as a start, as I showed you in that diagram. It will go throughout the whole process until the solution. But without having good methods in place at the start, you will be going back and forth in the design systems and having to iterate again. They won't like the solution, and then you go back to meet something else. And that sometimes is part of the process that I've found with not tons of experience that I do have, but with the experience that I have been fortunate enough to have. So again, important to pay attention to the design systems and the research methods that we are choosing before moving forward. Thanks, Hannah. I'm not sure if you had anything else to add.
No, I think that is it for our presentation. And if you guys have any questions, it could be Q&A sessions. If it's okay, I think that is
Can you
all
tell
for-
me? I have a question. Can you tell me more about the co-design session? How did you run it? Or
Oh, I have the same question. That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. This one, I was very lucky that we had already had contacts within the co-design section. So we already had specialists that have been working with us from the start. And again, simply put, the application is meant to be more of a more analytical mental health application. And so you're sending very specific data to these specialists to review, and then would send back recommendations to the users. It's a bit complex in explaining there. But for the co-design, I essentially had an activity where we sorted almost like a card sort, if some of you are familiar with those, where we did sort all of the communication tools that are currently in existence in different applications and that I would think they'd be using. So we're thinking it's something as simple as email to direct messaging, to having like assistant be sending out updates, very, very different things. And then that included our live chat option. And this was already designed, so we were able to kind of show them how it looked, which helped a lot. And then from there, I gave all of our participants, there was about 4 of them. Everyone had their own sheet of paper. And then we took these cards that I had laid out, and then they ranked them in almost a matrix. What was mostly essential and what was not essential in their workflow, or simply put, what they would use and what they wouldn't use. Because co-design was like very, very simple, but it allowed us to first be like, this doesn't work, I don't like this. And then from there, simply put, we asked them what they would use, what they would rather have. And that's where the iteration started. Like, we didn't even think about having more of a message template that they would just be able to quickly send, so that they didn't have to write the same thing over and over again. That would just be able to be sent to a specific user that they've been sending multiple emails regarding the same thing. That was something that was recommended by one of the therapists, I believe. And then the reminders as well for scheduling, different, like the way that each of them worked was so different that the co-design really allowed us to see what their workflows were and what they would prefer So when you're looking at a co-design, you're essentially looking at a very collaborative interview where you're not specifically always asking them, what's the answer to this? What do you think about this? But it's more like, what would you like to see? If this was you designing this process, what would you be putting in? So it was very collaborative. There's so many different activities that you can do to be able to see depending on the end goal. For example, another project where I have done a co-design. I think co-designs are one of my favorites. We did a role-playing activity, and this was for a project. We were trying to see if we could design AI to be for AI to have more user autonomy and more user control. And so we had one individual be the AI and respond and be as the AI, and everyone else would ask questions to it. And then with that role playing, you'd be able to see kind of the faults and where they would lose their autonomy or where they would lose their choice. So there's many different things that can be done in a co-design. For me, us specifically, card sorting was one of the main things that was used. But again, the main point is just to ensure that everyone's collaborating and then they're giving their ideas too. Does that answer the question there?
Yes. Thank you.
Comfy, go for it.
Yeah, I just had a follow-up question. I really like the idea of a co-design. I've never done it before, but I'm thinking like if you're doing the card sorting, how, especially, I mean, I understand that with this you had 4 participants, and so if they rank things differently, I'm sure some people prefer some things to some other things. So when you have a much larger group and the preferences are different, how do you prioritize what to use as the ideal solution? Like, let's say, people are voting 50-50, or like, how do you prioritize solutions in this case?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I'm not sure, and I'll send this out as well. One of the processes that we use is when we synthesize data. Hannah, do you mind going back to the diagram that I made there, if you can? Yeah, that one would be perfect there. Kind of in that second column there, the define, the synthesis. This is where something like an affinity diagram, and I'll share this so you guys can see, can be done. An affinity diagram, oh man, this is gonna not go great in explaining, but essentially an affinity diagram is where we take all these ideas, right? I write them down on sticky notes, especially now on Figma, you have FigJam, which that makes it a lot easier for everyone to share as a team. And when you do receive all of these results from a co-design, a survey, an interview, whatnot, you'll start to notice that there's a theme. There's some that you can connect to each other. For example, in the co-design that I just led, 3 out of the 4 decided to put that template suggestion out. And so we were able to sort it in that way, be like, this is what looks like to be of most importance. But now if you're receiving tons and tons of data, especially through a survey or interview, you're actually able to take all of those notes, put it into a diagram, and you'll be able to essentially label different sections on that diagram that will let you know very, very specific case that it is leading. So for example, if one of the things that could be for the Yumi project is there is a lot of interest in something that is very specific, you'll notice a lot of the same cards that will align to each other. And then from there, you'd be able to decide this is where our focus should be because this seems to be the general interest. And you'll find outliers as well, things that are quite random, or just one sticky note ended up being that outlier. And then from there, you can be like, this might not be a major concern, but it's something that we should keep in the back of our minds just because 1 or 2 people decided to put it out there. So there's different ways to like synthesize and organize data. I will share what an affinity diagram looks like. Again, either probably just on the Discord later, just so that you guys can all see the different types of data that can be synthesized. But affinity is pretty popular. I'm not sure, Salo, if there's any anything else that you've used through your experience to synthesize data. But Affinity, I've been the one that I've used the most.
Mhm. Yes, affinity diagramming it has different kind of ways to do it. One of them, I think, Farhija shared one of the methods is probably one of the most popular for prioritizing kind of features is you use Moscow. I'm not sure if you have heard about that, Santiago. And there is also like many prioritizations matrix. I have used those in prioritization matrix. That's another one. And yeah, you can customize prioritization matrix as the company needs. For example, yeah, you put 2 columns or 3 columns where exactly that's a very good company that where you can learn about UX research, the NN group. That's pretty good. So yeah, so basically you accommodate or use those tools according to the business needs. But it's exactly what you were mentioning is just kind of finding affinity between uh, the notes that you have taken with your team and so on. Yeah, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Yeah, again, there's with design processes and design research, I've come to find there's just so many different ways to doing things, which is great because it means that we can be as flexible as possible,
Yeah.
and really relate the research and the outcome of what we have found and digest that in a way that makes sense specifically in this case the Yumi project. So again, I will try and send out all the links that I have. I'm sure, Sal, you also have, you've been sending like everything that you've been sending, I've been saving, so we've been able to, I can send that all as like as a group so that you guys can all have access to it.
Sounds good.
Oh, let's create a post in the forum. So later when people want to sort of like look into the similar topic, they can find it. And then we can always add more links or like materials to it.
Good point.
Yeah, because Hannah had a ton of fantastic ones too that she had in the presentation.
Nice.
We'll probably just share the presentation, but pretty much the whole first half of the presentation is really good suggestions of different types of research that is used.
True.
Nice. Well, this is amazing. I learned so much. Oh my gosh. I never know there's so many different type of UX research, and there's different, there's so many new terms for me. Amazing. Really appreciate for you guys. I would recommend Santiago just make co-design as your niche because you already did it and you love it. Just try to make it like systemize it, like make it different steps, trying to make it clear, and then make this as your niche. So whenever people talk about the co-design, you have the example, you have the experience, and then you can demo it. And I guess same for Comfy and Hannah. You guys have so many different experience, and there's like you shared a lot of the different tools, right? Don't think you have to be a really giant topic like UX research that has a niche. Take a tool you like the most and you had used as your niche. Because for me, I have never used any one of those. Like for me, everything is new, and I'm not going to like learn through those. And you are my teacher, and you know it, and you use it. You are the expert in these tools. Just take one or two tools, as your niche, and then polish, practice, And when people talk about, for example, Moscow, we know Fajia had the demo for Moscow. Then we were like, okay, if we need Moscow we use Moscow, then we go to Fajia. Just make your build your niche and market it. That can help you kind of have more exposure and just make you stand out in a different role. You before you stand out maybe as a student or as a employee, but now you as a mentor, I'm a teacher, I'm an expert in this domain. Even though I'm still studying, but there's one niche you cannot beat me. Just make a niche for yourself.